Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And on this special episode, we got Kevin Waterman, also known as the Milkman. Not your Milkman. Not your Milkman, but the Milkman from Fear Street. He's also done stunt work for a shit ton of movies, including Avengers Endgame, Logan, and a metric fuck ton of others. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Waterman. How's it going, man?
Great. How are you?
Great.
Good.
Thanks for taking the time to come on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
Your IMDb list is insane. The movies that you've worked on, it's extremely impressive, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been a lot of work, but yeah, I'll be honest, it's a little deceiving too, because as a stunt performer and a specialist in stunt driving, I day play a lot. Yeah, honestly. So I'll work as a stunt double or a cop or something on a show for a day, and just come in just for a specialty stunt driving gag or whatever. So my IMDb it's legit, but it's impressive only because it's like I don't work the run of all these shows, like a lot of people do.
Yeah,
right. But hey, anybody that's got that kind of shit on their list it's a good list. You know what I mean? Either way.
Hey man, how'd you get started in doing the stunt work and stuff like that?
I got started as a kid, really. It's one of those things, when I grew up in southern Maine, and I grew up in the country. And so that was my playground. And I grew up driving everything from go-karts to ATVs and everything else in the snow and dirt and everything else. And eventually cars on ice and things like that. So that's really kind of where I got my start, learning car control and learning to do that kind of thing. And I got into racing and that kind of stuff. But eventually my real start in the film industry was, all right. So let me back up. I moved to Florida and I started at Lights Motors Action at Disney in Orlando, a live stunt driving show. And that's kind of what got me in as a professional stunt driver. And then I was able to branch out from there. And I moved to New Orleans and got my first job on 21 Jump Street, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really cool first real job, in the film industry.
That's badass. Yeah. The most I came close to that is I had a 2000 Dodge Neon, and I feel lucky if I could drive it on a slick road and get home. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I love hearing stories like that too, because there's so many people that think that finding your way in the industry, no matter what you're doing, can be like an overnight thing, or it's just somebody or something like that. But from everybody we talk to, and that's kind of something we always ask them. So how'd you get started? How'd you end up to where you are today? The common thread to me is always like, I fucking worked. Like I worked my ass off. So just like you start here, then you end up at Universal, then you end up on one movie, and then it's another. And now, you're in tons of stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you guys got the very, very condensed version of that. If we had some time to have some beers and get together and, tell the whole story, it's pretty wild actually. And it's the one thing that I tell people, like younger people that are trying to figure out what they want to do and whether they want to be an actor or they want to be a director or grip, or it doesn't matter, if they want to get into stunts, I tell them, you've got to start as young as you can, and you've got to give it everything you've got, and you've got to commit 100%. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to say, oh, you got to have a real job. How many times have we heard that? Right.
Yeah.
You got to have a real job. You got to go to college and all this stuff. And there's a lot of people that think it's not achievable. And I was one of these people as a young, I wanted to be a stunt driver when I was 4 or 5 years old, watching the Dukes of Hazzard, like we all did on Friday night, and it never ended for me. I always wanted to do that. And long story short, I had a real job for years, and I didn't want to be 80 years old looking back at my life, wondering what I could have been. And that's really what it came down to, is like, I want to see what else is out there. I want to see what I can do. I want to live. And when you get paid to do what you love, you don't work. I'll never work another day in my life because I get paid to do the things that I would pay to do. So yeah, you got to go after it. You got to, you only live once. You got to go and pursue everything that you want to do.
It's the Hulk Hogan motto, man. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, and work hard. That's it.
You're speaking the gospel there, man. You're talking to two guys who do YouTube for a living. So it took us like 10 years to do it. It's just, as I tell people too, eat all the shit that you're going to eat, because you're gonna, and then work your face off for years and years and years. And then maybe, but like you said, if you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. So even if you're catching shit from everybody in your life, if you're doing what you love, that's a pretty good trade-off. But so one thing I wanted to ask you, as far as the stunt work goes, as well, is there something like I watched a video today? I found you on I think it was your YouTube. That's like some of your stunts and stuff like that. Not stunts, but stunt driving.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, and it was amazing. In some of the movie scenes that you're driving in, they're going off bridges, smashing into cars, like some crazy shit. Is there anything you do like in those moments, like if you're sitting in the car right before you're going to do a scene like that one where it goes off the bridge and you know it's going to be gnarly? Is there anything you do to like calm yourself down or hype yourself up? Like what's the moment like in your head, like in that 10 seconds before go time?
It's I'm getting chills now going back to those moments where I'm sitting there like, all right, it's everything that you worked for and the whole team put together, all the training, all the measurements and whatever, all the testing and rehearsals and everything that you put into those moments. And most of the time you have one shot at it. You've got one take. And yeah, I try to breathe. That's the biggest thing that I remind myself is just to breathe and relax and enjoy the ride. You know, I mean, that's really what it's all about. And know that, you know, there's no turning back at that point. You know, I've got to go for it. And I just focus on all the things that I told myself in rehearsals and just checked over things again and just make sure, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and just go through the steps and, you know, try to relax as much as possible.
I don't know how you could do the stunt, man, with balls that big. Hell, I think if you get in front of the gear shift, you sound like Johnny Blaze, dude. It's like Ghost Rider. It's badass. Yeah, I can't even do like the slingshot ride at like a amusement park. I'd be like, you know what? I really changed my mind. I want to live. I don't want to do like, yeah, it's crazy.
Come to Atlanta. I'll give you a ride.
Oh no, that's all right, man. I don't know. You'd have vomit all over your dashboard probably before we even took off. I was going to ask you though, out of all the stunts that you've done, I know that you did. I think it was Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Out of all the stuff, what was the process like doing it for like Suicide Squad? And do you remember what was your most enjoyable experience on that film?
That's kind of a poor example, because you know I was an ND stunt driver, what we call an ND stunt driver on the show, so nondescript. So I was one of the vehicles around the cars.
I see. Okay.
Else. So it was honestly boring. I mean, it was
generally out of your career, then what would you say? What was the craziest one that you've done?
The craziest one that I've done is the one that James is just talking about, where I filmed in Savannah with the BMW off the bridge. That was in downtown Savannah in a historic district, and we were not allowed to damage any of the historic stuff. And it was extremely difficult. And really, the video, nothing really does it justice as far as what went into that. We had to use a different vehicle to test the jump and test the distance that we were going to travel in order to land in that white van. And we only had a certain run up for it. I had to hit 28 miles an hour exactly. Mm-hmm. But right when it hit 28 miles an hour is when it was shifting gears. It was an automatic and it would shift gears. And at the exact same time that hit 28 miles an hour, I was full throttle the whole time, basically. Dang. And then had to let off, turn, hit the ramp perfectly and land in the van. And I couldn't see the speedometer. So it was all on feel. Everything was just, it was pure instinct. It was crazy.
Then you had to change your shorts because I would have.
when this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. But it was 28. Holy,
that's 28 miles an hour.
Yeah, I got a little bit of stunt person in me. Like I will throw myself. We have video proof. Like I'll throw myself off of hills and like I'll literally got stabbed last week and like dumb shit like that. But there's certain things that I just could not do. Like I don't do heights and cars scare the shit out of me. So I'd pretty much be the worst stunt guy ever. Like if you needed just an on-ground stunt guy to like throw himself into a wall, I'd be good.
You'd be like the Dollar General stunt guy. Like that's all we could afford right now.
Yeah, exactly. He'll let you beat him up for 20 bucks.
That's good.
Yeah. But there are some productions looking for guys like you, for the record.
Oh, hey, there we go. I've got something to fall back on then.
It's like, I need a couple of dollars. I'll let you beat the shit out of me. Let's just do it.
But what I'm leading to is I'm 35. I don't know how old you are, but dude, I wake 41. Up 31. Okay. So you're not
41.
40. Okay. Well, then even more respect, man, because like, it seems like, I'm a pretty active person, like I work out and stuff like that, all that bullshit. But I wake up every single day with a new injury. Like And almost every single day, it's like, oh, today's my shoulder. What the fuck is that? And then like, 2 hours on WebMTB. But like, how do you deal with that? Like now, do you end up with a lot of injuries?
Ibuprofen.
You have a broken what?
No, ibuprofen. I deal with it with ibuprofen.
Oh. I thought you said I have a broken.
No. Well, yes, that too.
Yeah.
Well, it's like any other athlete or action sports junkie or whatever, where we sustain a fair amount of injuries, and a lot of it is just from training and from trying to stay healthy and keeping up on it and pull stuff, and it's par for the course, man. And especially as you get older, things don't heal as easily and as quickly, and you got to man up, really, is what it comes down to. You got to be tough to do what we do, and sometimes it sucks. That's one of the reasons why I really love being a stunt driver, because as I get older, I don't want to hit the ground anymore. As I less and less all the time. The ground gets harder every year, I swear to God, and it takes longer to heal. But I can be a stunt driver until I'm well past retirement if I wanted to. I probably won't be doing any gnarly car crashes and things like that as I get, a lot older, but I can do it well into my retirement, versus gymnasts or martial artists or whatever. They're pretty limited when they get, in their 40s and 50s. They're not doing a lot of that stuff anymore.
Oh yeah, look at Steven Seagal right now.
Yeah, his ponytail rocks the shit out of it, though. It doesn't matter.
I still got the ponytail though. But so Katie Long asked, one of our patrons, hey, you kind of answered that one already. What was the scariest stunt that you've ever done? I guess was that the scariest or just the most complicated?
That was the most challenging, I would say. I'm with you on high falls, okay, or on heights. I'm not a big fan of heights, and I had to tackle a guy off of a rooftop one time, because I was actually just there as a safety, but the guy that was supposed to do the tackle ended up having some personal complications, and so I had to fill in and do the tackle off the rooftop into boxes. It was a professional, rig, and whatnot, but I'm not a high fall guy, and it was terrifying. It was about 40 feet. Where I had to bulldog a guy, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's like, can I Goldberg spear somebody off like a 1-story house, please? Like, I think that would be into a pool.
That's the best possible Dante from Clerks. I'm not even supposed to be here today, as you're falling off of a roof somewhere. I love it, man. That's great. That would do it for me too, for sure. But so, okay, the Milkman. Let's talk about the Milkman and Fear Street. That had to be a change of pace for you, doing all the stunt work and stuff like that. How did that? And this question also falls through from another Patreon, Will Watts. I want to know how you were cast ultimately in Fear Street as the Milkman.
Okay, so a buddy of mine, Lloyd, who actually played the Nightwing Killer, contacted me. Lloyd and I have been buddies for years, and we started doing stunts together in New Orleans. And they wanted to cast a stuntman as the Milkman, because there was some, a lot of things that we had to do, whether it was fighting and stabbing with the actresses, but also the throw that everybody talks about as well.
Oh yeah.
And so they were looking for a stuntman that could act. And I somehow got established as the creepy stunt guy from a few other films or shows that I worked on. I did the originals back in the day, and I was cast as the creepy stunt guy in it, where I had to be this creepy dude. Anyways, but I was also Florida Man on the TV show Atlanta, which was a lot of fun. And they wanted me to be like this creepy meth head guy on that. And another buddy of ours named Andy Rusk, who's the stunt coordinator of Atlanta and several other shows in town, talked to Lloyd, said, hey, you got to get Kevin on that show, or at least get him an audition, because he can act and play this creepy guy really well. He's done it for me. So that's what happened. So I went in and I did an audition and met the director, Lee, and did my creepy smile and my creepy walk. And she's like, oh my God, you're really freaking creepy.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, man, you nailed it. I mean, it was awesome. One of the first things I noticed about it, and I know that Mike did too, is that when the way that you moved in one, like I think it was episode 2, the specific scene, across the field, it really reminded me of someone like Michael Myers, or at least Nick Castle's performance of that. It was real smooth and liquid. It was really well done. And I thought at first that was a mask that you were wearing, but then I was like, holy shit, his face is burnt and warped. It was really impressive. I know that you worked with Christopher Nelson on that. How long did the prosthetics take to be applied to your face? And was that ever like discomforting, or like were you like, it's like claustrophobic as shit in here?
Absolutely. It was about a 3.5 hour ordeal from start to finish at the very beginning. Those guys are good though. Chris, I mean, he's amazing. And they had it down to about 2.5 hours by the end of the films. So they knocked an hour off the time just because they, got familiar with it. Yes, it was extremely uncomfortable, especially when I was sweating and you get the nice little pool of sweat in the chin and it's making noise and you got to try to squeegee it out. The contact lens was very uncomfortable for me. I have sensitive eyes anyways, and I don't wear contacts. And it was a custom contact lens. They flew me to LA to do a full life cast of my face, and then I got custom fitted contacts. But man, if I got anything behind the contact, an eyelash or a piece of dust or something, it was pretty brutal. So there was a lot of those scenes. That particular scene, walking across the field, I didn't have the contact in because it was such a long lens. It didn't matter. But anything that was up close, I had to have it in. But yeah, it was. I mean, we shot that in Georgia in the summer, and it was brutally hot with that wool costume and everything. It was
swamp ass city, I can imagine. Yeah, dude.
We're actually buddies with Chris Nelson, so I was going to ask you about that too. What does he do while you're in there for 3.5 hours? How does he keep you entertained? And also, you can talk shit about him. We'll accept that here.
I wish I got nothing to talk shit about, really. I mean, those guys are so good. If we'd talk about different stuff that was going on, just day-to-day stuff. But it was really, really early in the morning because I had to be there so much earlier than crew call. So, I mean, I was half asleep the whole time when they were doing it. And there's 4 different pieces of prosthetics, plus the hair piece, plus the paint, plus everything else. So it was just like we had this process every morning. And, it was, there's a lot of coffee and a lot of, just kind of zoning out time. And I wouldn't say entertaining was, the way to describe it.
Yeah, like, hurry up and put this fucking contact in. Jesus. Like, I don't like it touching my eye.
Yeah, I know.
I swear I'd probably get fired because I'd keep blinking. I'd be like, dude, I can't.
It's tough at first. It's really weird at first if you're not used to it. Yeah.
I can't stand sitting there for 10 minutes getting a haircut. So like, I can only imagine how crazy that is. But yeah, I know that like with James Shoot Courtney on Halloween, like he would put on certain like records, like for the day to put him in the zone for the mood and all that stuff like that. Do you actually do anything like that? So when you're playing this creepy character, do you have a process for that where you're just like, do you go someplace in your head, you go like weird method acting and start like licking stuff off the buffet or anything weird like that? Or do you just kind of just go into it?
No, I would not say a method, but I do get into character. I take a lot of time to really think about, who the Milkman was. And I try to bring myself into whatever madness is going in this guy's head. Sorry. I got a little inspiration from a couple of guys. You're probably going to ask me this question next, but it kind of ties into what you're talking about. I thought about a little bit about Heath Ledger as the Joker. Because he's always like smiling and has this like weirdo kind of creepiness about him where he just like bring it on. He like, come on, kill me, like you hit me with the thing or whatever it is. And so like I love the idea of just him like enjoying it a little too much, and whether it's the lick or the stabbing or whatever, or the sniffing was something that I brought to the character as well, where I'm like, I just want this guy to be really unique and weird and creepy. But also with this kind of a shy side to him, kind of like a Kip from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to unsee that now whenever I watch this.
And I did this thing that they didn't actually use where I would take my hair and I would kind of bring it to the side like this and I would part it and I would kind of do this.
It's good though. I like it.
I love it.
And so I did a lot of that kind of stuff, and it kind of reminded me of Kip, how he was kind of shy, but he's like, I don't know, weird. But That's
Yeah, I met a girl off the internet. You can say things are getting kind of serious. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, that's actually a good follow-up, because I was going to say, were you allowed any kind of improv? And if so, did they keep anything in there that was improv that wasn't necessarily in the script?
Yes, they did. Lee was great. Like she let me kind of do my thing, but she did give me some hints and some stuff where she wanted it to go. The lick that everyone talks about, why did you lick Ziggy? And I'm like, I always make the joke. I'm like, she tasted like ice cream. I mean,
Yeah.
and I couldn't remember if Lee asked me to lick her or if I came up with that. So I asked her the other day actually, and she's like, honestly, I don't remember either, because it was like we talked about just making it just super creepy. And so I started doing the sniffing and like just really smiling, and that was kind of my thing as well. Lee gave me a song though that I played in my head, or I sang to myself as I was doing the walk. And it was, the milkshake song. My milkshake brings all the boys. Except for it was my milkshake brings all the girls to the yard.
That'll work.
So as I was walking along,
That's awesome.
That's what's going through my head when you see the walk.
That is the perfect, like, most like ironic scoring I've ever heard in my life. Like, who would have the balls to be like, how do I make this guy fucked up? Like most people would think like put on the Halloween theme song or like something creepy or whatever, or like some death metal or something. But my milkshake,
yeah,
that's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. The shimmy though, dude. Like, I think my favorite part of your performance was when you got shot.
Oh yeah,
and like I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're even looking at it at first. Like, they shoot from the back, but when the gun goes off, you do this like
in the back.
Okay, yeah, like it's like the movements that you do every time you get shot. I was like, that is so fucking cool, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that like that before.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I'll be honest, I struggled with it because normally we're so used to getting shot in the front. As a stunt performer, they want to see you here, and you get shot, whether it's a chest shot or whatever it is, and headshot or whatever.
So you've never been married before, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go
ahead. So it is a little different getting shot in the back. And then also while I was walking, and then I stopped and then got shot 3 more times. It was a little challenging. It was on cue. So we did it several times, and I really had to work at it to really just get it as jerky as possible. And there was a fine line. We didn't want it to be Avengers style, gunshots where you're blasting and going through the air or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there was the question whether or not, this guy is not alive, right? So how much is he actually feeling this? Is there like a sensation, or is it just the thrust from the bullet that's causing him to do that? Or do I just stand there and, let the bullets go through or whatever? So we did several versions of that, and that's kind of what we fell on was the quick jerkiness of it. It was pretty tough, honest, for me. That not being my specialty.
Yeah, but it looked great, man. It was my favorite part.
I'm glad it turned out as well as it did.
Well, have you ever seen the end of Halloween 4 when Michael Myers is getting blown up by the entire police force, and he's like, right. He's like flying around.
He does a little dance.
Yeah, we'll literally put dance music to it and just laugh because it looks like he's dancing. But it was so much better than that. But yeah, no, that's what I was going to ask you. There's so many parallels to this character in Michael Myers from Halloween.
Sure.
Obviously,
really is,
the blue jumpsuit, the walk the knife, everything, so much. Did you get any inspiration from that? Was that any part of your thing, like just knowing that has to tie into it somehow?
I actually tried not to, because I didn't want to copy that character. Because it's a completely different character. I kind of knew going into it that nobody said this to me specifically, that it was a tribute to, or whatever, to Mike Myers or whatever, like some of the other characters were, tribute to what's his name, Scream and whatever. But I wanted it to be its own character, and then whatever they did with the cinematography and with the costume and things like that to make it similar, fine. But I knew that it was a different character, and it was somebody that was unique, and I wanted to be careful not to play Mike Myers, or like, so I did it on purpose not to.
Yeah, there's already enough Wayne's Worlds out there. We don't need another one. No, but it kind of reminded me of Malcolm McDowell, because Malcolm McDowell actually said the same thing when he did Halloween. He didn't watch any of Donald Pleasant's performance as Dr. Loomis. He wanted to do his own original take on that character, and it turned out well. But that's awesome. That's pretty cool. I was gonna say, I know you also said that you're not method, but was there ever anything in your mind that you're like, you know what, I want to separate myself from the cast, so they're really kind of freaked out for especially the lig? That's got to be like, what the shit? Like, if it's improv, did you ever think about doing that, or did you do that? Like, just not really hang out with them that much, so they're more like taken aback when they see you.
I would mess with my buddies quite a bit, actually. So I would kind of I would stay in character from, on certain times where I would just walk up behind Alan, the stunt coordinator, and kind of get in his ear and just kind of look at him, and when he's right here, and just kind of smile and give him a little kiss, and he'd just be like, so I would have fun messing with people, but it depends. Like if there was a long time between shots, and I would just be myself. Once we started getting closer to filming, then I would kind of start thinking about it and getting into the zone and breathe and just thinking about what I'm going to do and kind of get back into that character a little bit more. Mostly I would have fun with it. I just enjoyed playing the guy, playing Milkman, and just messing with people and freaking them out.
If I were in your position, I would say I would try to stay away from them, but then again, it would probably be because no one wanted to hang out with me. It wasn't the fact that I was trying on purpose to stay away.
I was thinking that too when you're talking just now. I was thinking that's mostly that's a younger cast, for a movie. Yeah. And like you being like wearing all that stuff and like playing that Milkman character, like was that ever just like awkward as shit for you? Just like you're just standing there in your Milkman get up and they're all talking together and having a good time, and you're like, I don't know if I should go up and talk to anybody because I don't want to like freak him out or not, or what?
Generally, I would, as a stunt guy, I'm not used to being cast anyways, right?
Right.
So although we sometimes will have like the green room will be shared and that kind of stuff, it was weird for me to be hanging out with all the cast and stuff. So yeah, I would kind of hang out with the other stunt doubles and that sort of thing, and the stunt coordinator, just kind of do my own thing. They're all a lot younger and stuff. So like some people I would chat with and stuff here and there, but I mostly would just hang out with the stunt guys and let the actors do their own thing.
Yeah, I'd probably be the same exact way. Are you ever interested in, like, if you ever got the opportunity to play, say, Michael Myers in another movie, would you be interested in that?
I would consider it, sure. I'm not really on this path, or I'm not pursuing the acting career per se. This just happened to be a shot in the dark where I got fortunate and it fit what I had done in the past a little bit, and I was a good candidate to play this character. But what's more interesting to me is whether or not they do spin-offs. And I'm sure you guys are, I don't know if you brought that up.
Next question.
It's not like, I may or may not have heard this on Reddit. Not that I hang out there or anything, but I heard there were whisperings that there was a possibility of having a spin-off series with the Milkman, or, all those characters, and tell their backstories, because they're all interesting and unique. I was going to ask if you knew or heard anything about that on your end.
So I get asked this regularly on Instagram and different places.
I got to change my accounts.
What I can tell you is I heard during filming that there was rumors of people being interested in making a spin-off, especially of the Milkman. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I just thought it was rumors. Until after it came out, then I saw in Comic Book Magazine and a few other publications where they interviewed Lee, the director, and she said flat out, I would love to take on a spin-off of the Milkman, along with some of these other characters. And I think it would be a blast. I'm a little terrified about, I'm a pretty private person, and I'm not looking for fame. I'm not one of these people that, like, I'm perfectly fine with where I'm at in life. And I love my career as a stuntman and a stunt driver. So I'm not trying to pursue acting. And the thought of walking down the street and being recognized by everybody, and like, I know Norman Reedus pretty well I've worked on The Walking Dead a ton. So I know all of those guys really well, and they can't go into the grocery store. They can't do anything anymore. And it's pretty sad, honestly. And nobody's ever going to recognize me because from the Milkman, because I was wearing all this prosthetics. It's great. Mm-hmm. But if I were to ever do the backstory of Milkman and spinoff, if they ever showed me as me before prosthetics, if that's part of the storyline where you see him before he was burned, it's a little terrifying.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would certainly consider it, and I would love to do it, and I would love to play the character and really just bring it to life, so to speak, you know, and to take it from the beginning. But I'd have to get over the fact that you know, I can no longer hide from the, you know, from crazy people. And I you know, I love the fans, and I always reach out to people on Instagram and message them, and I encourage them to message me, and they freak out because I respond to them. I'm like, yeah, I'm nobody. I'm just a stunt guy who just happens to play this role, you know. I'm like, and they're like, oh my God, the Milkman. And I'm like, look, I'm no different than you guys, you know. But it's tough. Like I would pursue it, and I would go after it, and I would do it if they asked, but I would have a real hard time dealing with some of the you know, day-to-day
The consequences
stuff.
of fame. Yeah. Like the double-edged sword kind of thing. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. And especially, I mean, I was going to say, if you know, if you get tapped to do something like the Milkman's spinoff, would it make you like, I mean, just the apprehension that you're talking about, I could only imagine, like when you're going to have speaking lines, and you're going to be like, have to explore them. Like, do you think that would be scarier than the bridge thing as a stunt driver? Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, it's like,
yeah. I mean, I've had dialogue in the past as well, you know. As a stunt man, oftentimes we're playing a cop or whatever, or we're, you know, detectives or CIA or whatever it is. So it's not uncommon for me to have dialogue, but to be number one on the call sheet would be insane. You know, it'd be terrifying. I think it would help that I've already established the character, and so you know, it wouldn't be hard for me to develop the character because I kind of already know what he's like. So that part would help. But then all the other stuff with the, you know, the dialogue and being right there on camera, it's terrifying when the camera is right there in front of you and it's a close shot and you've got this dialogue and oh my God.
Yeah, and someone's screaming at you, don't look at the camera. You're like, oh, I can't. Like, yeah, you're staring like,
It could be, you know, could be a perfect solution to that too, though. I mean, like, it's not often that you find somebody who's willing to put their ego on the side and actually doesn't want their face shown and doesn't want to have all the speaking lines or whatever. I don't think it would be that hard outside the realm of possibility for them if that's what you wanted to cast you like and have you play the full on Milkman, right? And then cast somebody like close to your likeness to do the speaking lines and stuff.
Right. Prior to the burn per se, right?
Right. Like I don't see why not. And then if they did that, the beautiful thing about that for you is it's the best of both worlds, because with like horror movies and stuff, like you look at like these horror conventions that go on, horror fans like, and that's what you were saying, like my career's not going in this path. That's not what I was trying to do. But horror is such a weird thing that like they will take that little role and they will covet it and they will carry you into other stuff like that. It's just because the horror community is so cool and they're so rad and like they're so passionate about what they do. But like in that essence, you would have the best of both worlds, because you know you could do conventions and stuff, and like you know Tony Moran had his mask off for was on screen for like 2 seconds in the original Halloween movie. He was the face that was shown, and what he did with that, we won't touch that little guy. But you know, it's a cool thing, man. You're like etched in legend from, and not in your case because you didn't have a mask on. It was a lot more that went into that. But for a lot of people, they wear a mask, and it's such a big deal to this small community. But a lot of people like walking around. Nick Castle could probably go to the grocery store. You know what I mean? Right. He probably gets, not to say Nick Castle's not famous. I'm sure like Halloween fans are insane. Right. And he probably does get stopped a lot, but you get what I'm saying? That would be the best of both kind of,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it would be different than Norman Reedus going to the grocery store.
Right.
Or somebody like that. Right. Yes, it would be the best of both worlds, I think. Then the question would be, you know, do I want somebody playing the Milkman before, you know, because he still would have the walk, he still would have the little creepy smile, and I mean, there would be a creepiness about him as well, which I don't know. I mean, I'm sure somebody could mimic it.
But you got that ownership now. You have that character. That's
yeah. And don't get me wrong. I would like to see you do it. But if that was ever something that was going to stop you from doing it, I'm sure that they could figure it out. You know what I mean? But that's good to hear. Like, that's exactly what I texted Chris after I watched the movie. I was like, dude, fucking Milkman's cool as shit. I want a spinoff movie of him specifically, like immediately. We would love that.
It would be a lot of fun. It really would. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely, man. Dude, thank you so much for taking your time to hang out with us tonight. Is there anything that you got going on that you want to promote? Any causes, any work you got coming up, any podcast, anything?
No, not really. This is actually my first interview that I've done as, an actor or whatever from the Milkman. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, you were awesome, dude. We loved having you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
We definitely got to hook up and get some beers and just hang out, though. That would be cool.
Absolutely. If you guys are ever in Atlanta, where do you live?
Just Kentucky,
so we're not far away.
Oh, no kidding. I'm going to be in Bowling Green next week. No, in 2 weeks.
No shit. That's like
Bowling Green.
Maybe 2 hours.
It's like 2 hours. Yeah, it's about 2 hours.
Oh, right. Cool. Yeah, I'll be going. I'll be there for. It's a car thing,
I'll say, I'm not getting in your car, man. I'm scared. That's the other thing that scares me: heights and cars. But no, dude. Thanks. I'm trying to say. Okay. Last question. One more thing. Got to know what was. I meant to ask this earlier. What was the worst injury, the most gnarly injury you've ever had your entire time doing this?
It's a toss-up between I got hit by a bus at
Sorry.
30 miles an hour. And it sucked. But it was like a Greyhound bus, and I got hit. I had no pads on. I had a helmet on. I was playing a construction worker, and I got hit by a bus. It wasn't supposed to happen. It messed up my ankle pretty bad. I couldn't run for about 14 to 16 months, I'd say, before I could run again. It was gnarly. It was bad.
So that wasn't on purpose. That was an accident. Like a bus just accidentally hit you.
Right. I mean, I was playing construction worker. The bus was coming through the set, and it was supposed to be a cross, and the gap closed, and it was a big mess. And
it didn't like it really happened. It was like how desperate were you to get where you were trying to go? Stop the bus.
No, I mean, like if no, I know. Supposed to, it wasn't on the set of Speed with Keanu Reeves, was it? Because that would be amazing.
No.
All right,
God dang.
What was the other one?
Actually, I had a pretty bad shoulder injury from Fear Street when I was Milkman, when I got thrown.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting. I had 2 wires on me that allowed him to help lift me. Now for the record, 6'10", right? And his name is, I don't know if you guys know Keel Zappernak. He played the Grifter, or whatever his name is. And he was able to pick me up on his own. But to make it easier, and so he could do it several times and throw me, I had a line right in the middle of my back and one under my right armpit. And the idea was he was to pick me up straight up in the air, and I was stabbing him at the same time. And then he throws me to the side as I stabbed him. And we did several into pads. And then one of the times, Lee wanted one wide shot of me actually going and hitting the ground. And it was tile floor, and I got tossed to tile floor from about 6.5, 7 feet.
Dang.
So if you can imagine, climbing up to the top of your on top of your refrigerator, basically, and jumping off to tile floor and landing on your elbow and your hip. That's about what it felt like on the tile floor.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it sucked. And I had to protect my prosthetics as well. Plus I had a line that was under my arm. So it was tough to land and protect everything, especially my head. From hitting the tile floor. So
Jesus.
I mean, it wasn't, it tore, I had, torn ligaments and tendons and whatnot in the shoulder, and it took a while, took some physical therapy and whatnot, but
yeah, dude, that scene was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. But
it was good. I mean, but
compared to some people, I've been very fortunate and lucky. I've not had anything that's even close to life threatening, or I've never been in a coma, or I've never been knocked unconscious. So
I'm knocking on wood for you right now. I do not want to be the show that you said that on. But no, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it, dude. I'm glad to hear it. That's amazing.
Like that dude threw you like a credit card bill like after the holidays. Like it was fucking gnarly as shit. Like I saw you hit and I was like, damn, that's gotta hurt. And I think you post on your Twitter, like you still feel it to this day. And I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I still feel it.
I can see. Yeah.
Yikes, dude. Oh fuck, man, that was a really good time for us. Hey, we hope that you end up playing the Milkman again. Not that you need to, because you have an amazing career doing the stunt work and everything else. But if you do, in one way or another, we should have some beers and maybe have you back on the show sometime.
I'd love to,
sure.
man. I definitely would. I appreciate it very much.
This is a great convo, man. Have an awesome day, dude. Thanks for your time once again.
Thanks,
All right,
Kevin.
definitely. Thank you. Will you send me a link to when you guys get this
Yes,
posted up?
definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, I'd love to see it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man. Have a great one.